Hennessy.
Here.
Gerald Wolfgang.
Here.
Kevin McCabe.
Here.
William Ross.
Here.
Marilyn Candela.
Here.
Robert Cliff.
Here.
Scott Bridges.
Here.
Clifford Scott.
Here.
Jason Krempa.
Here.
Introduction of guests. Go around the room for guests.
Could I just say, this Julie Lambero is our new administrative assistant. I did introduce her by email, but there she is. Pleasure and luck.
Mark Gabriel, Agency Counsel.
Andrea Fleiss, Agency Staff.
Mike Dudley, agency staff. Jim Fink, Business First Newspaper.
My name is Terry Burton. I'm with KCB Architecture.
Joy Keeler, Enterprise Lumber and Title. And Kelly Paul Burton, Enterprise Lumber and Title. Gary Case Sawyer, Agency Staff.
Thank you. Will you please stand for the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
5.0 approval of the meeting minutes from March 10th. Mr. Ross.
Second.
Sure.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 6.0.
Yes, agency payroll from March 31st. Want to make a motion to approve this consent.
Second.
6.2 budget hearing report. Make motion to approve.
Second.
7.1. Andrew?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We held a public hearing for AMP Real Estate Holdings of Erie County LLC, operating Huron sprinklers in the city of North Tonawanda at City Hall. In attendance was the Director of Real Property for Niagara County and the Assessor for the city of North Tonawanda. There were no comments at the hearing.
No.
This final okay. We need a motion for the board. Okay. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We need a roll call.
Mr. Wolfgang.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Ms. Candela.
Yes.
Mr. Cliff.
Yes.
Mr. Bridges.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
yes.
Mr. Krempa.
Yes.
Mr. Onesi.
Yes. Thank you. 8.1, Enterprise Lumber and Silo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Enterprise Lumber and Silo LLC. Is the real property holding company owned by the principals of KCB Architecture, PC, and Joy Keebler Landscape Architect, PC. The principals are looking to rehab the building at 211 Main Street. They are going to turn into Class A professional office space, occupy 40% of the building, and 40% of the building will be leased to other professional firms. Ms. Burton and Ms. Keebler are the principals here. If you have any questions.
Four, correct?
Yes. We were
Refresh our memory.
Sure. So the property at 211 Main Street is currently approximately 18,000 square foot former lumber mill. And it has been abandoned now for 5 years. The property is in a brownfield area in North Tonawanda. So that has been the time span from when we first purchased it in 2016 to now. We've been going through, we've been working with the DEC in identifying what the extent of the brownfield is. And just recently got our approval letter for the work plan. So now the project is moving ahead again. So when we initially applied for the pilot, the project wasn't far enough along to know that we were close to getting financing and moving ahead. So now we're at that point. And one of the things that we've done is, because of the extent of the brownfield cleanup, which exceeded the initial estimate by over $250,000, we had to go back and redesign the renovation or the reconstruction of the building to now align with the budget that we have. So the building is now going to be a little over 6,200 square feet, with the option of a phase 2 that will add another 5,000 square feet. So we're leaving the building foundations intact. We're reusing a portion where we're building out and giving a tenant space, and then now we have the option for phase 2, more tenant area. And we brought some images on what the reconstruction will look like. I'll pass them around. Yeah. And the project, actually, with the delay, has really worked in our benefit, because now having to, because KCB Architecture is also the architect on the project, we've been able to redesign the spaces to align with COVID considerations. And so the tenant spaces and our Joy and I are going to be sharing about 3,600 square feet of office space with our two businesses. So now we've been able to have the buildings have separate heating and cooling systems, and are physically separated now. My business, we do commercial architecture, but we also do high-end custom homes. So the space now will incorporate the corporate feel, but then also be very welcoming to our high-end residential clients, where they come in and feel more like they're in a luxury home, and they have hospitality aspects of it. So you can see from the images going around there, the space is very inviting, and really the building now is a true reflection of architecturally what we can do. And then I want Joy to speak a little bit about the site, because as architecture, we have about 95% of our homes are net zero. So we felt very strong about having those aspects in our building. So we are geothermal. We've applied for a grant to have solar, and then Joy is incorporated into the design, into the site and the landscape elements that support that too, right?
So at the same time, are coordinating with our brownfield cleanup. So a brownfield cleanup, as you can imagine, excavates almost all of the entire site. All of that soil is then removed from the site, and then clean fill is brought back in. And we also had an opportunity to look at green infrastructure as a methodology to handle all of our stormwater at the site. So this district never had storm sewers in the roadways adjacent to Main Street. It was always considered industrial, and most of that space was left as like a granular aggregate on the surface. So when it rained, all that water would just infiltrate into the ground, taking with it all of the nasty stuff that might have been on the surface or in the air, and permeated that into the ground. So 2 years ago, we also worked with the city of North Carolina to secure grant funding to redevelop Main Street, that section of Main Street, to be a green infrastructure project. So the capacity to collect stormwater improved. Some overflow sewer was connected, but it's still the intention that most of the properties would be handling stormwater on site per the DEC's guidance on green infrastructure. So that allowed us a lot of synergy to work together. So as Kelly mentioned, the time delay has actually been working to our advantage. So we were able to look at all of our site excavation as an opportunity to dig the hole that would normally be the most expensive infrastructure on a site. So all of our stormwater will be handled on site. It'll be handled through permeable pavement as well as rain garden, and we've applied for a consolidated funding application from the Environmental Facilities Corp to do a green roof as well. So the site, not only from a net zero and architectural space of reclaiming the historic architectural heritage, getting us as close to net zero as possible, all of our site stormwater would be managed on site. So this project has an opportunity to be a shining example of a 21st century sustainable building project in a historic and reclaimed industrial core. We see it as a real model opportunity to really showcase the best of what's possible when you are able to align all of the different programs together. So we're very excited that our garden out front will not just be a garden for us, but it will actually tie to that the city of North Carolina's green infrastructure program as well. So our city street and our site will be also working in synergy.
What other hurdles do you have before you start the project?
Current hurdles are ones we've already overcome. Correct.
I don't really see too much left that we need to negotiate or navigate, I should say. We have exhaustively pursued every type of grant and funding that we actually could find. We actually retain the services of Sincere and to help you with the lobbyists, but also help to identify sources of funding and make introductions for us early on in the project. Then we've been able to retain a number of grants, and so I think that from a financing standpoint, that which is the significant piece of a project, we've secured that, and then we have also gone through all of the local boards that we have needed to get approval for the project done. So
We have a number of financial resources. We have to complete negotiations and close construction. So we've got a lot of roles in the most of them. But we need partnership with the local commercial construction companies to work in that direction. That is the way it's done. But we have what we need in terms of government approvals. We have what we need in terms of construction companies, cost.
Come a long ways in 5 years. We can't go back to 2016. I remember when you made your presentation at the public hearing. I was looking at those pictures. It's just a bit different.
it is. And so what we did is we kept the basic design of the building because we did want to acknowledge the history that's there. And so, but what we were able to do is now the building is going to be constructed to 21st century technologies. So extremely energy efficient, net zero, and so it's really able to capture the present and the past.
I have two questions. One has to do with the report about the DEC doing the brownfield report. You also have a short environmental assessment review form. Is that filed with the city of North Carolina? Number one, who's the lead agency? And what does the DEC say you have to do to correct the brownfield? So you'd be okay with the other point.
So our North Carolina was the lead agency on our short form, and the work plan that the DEC has created for us and approved for us is like 240 pages. So I won't go through all of it, but the intention of it is to clean to attract one. So we are removing all of the non-native soils on site. There are 2 sites that were considered hotspots from a radioactive material perspective. Those areas will be excavated to a 5-foot depth. Most of the site is being excavated between 24
4 and 36 inches. The hotspots will be contained per DEC guidelines, will go to contaminated facility that handles that waste. The other materials will be handled through the appropriate landfills that take that material. And then all of the material that's being brought onto the site is considered DEC qualified clean material. And as you said before with our green infrastructure, 90% of that is actually washed aggregate where water can permeate through. Because we are clean to attract one, the DEC has no problem with us doing that permeable infiltration because we won't be picking up any contaminants in between where rainwater would mix with contaminants and then into groundwater. So they have approved that our permeable and green infrastructure efforts will be suitable in that new, the clean version of the site.
Second question has to do with the county planning board approve the project.
They did, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. We need a motion for the preliminary resolution. Sorry. Bridges. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Need a roll call vote.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Krempa,
Yes.
Mr. Onesi.
Yes. Thank you. We also need a motion for the public hearing. Also, switch that. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you much, everyone. Very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, Sue's going to get her some hours.
So, crazy, yeah. We're just like, numbers on-
All right, 8.2, rubber form recycled products.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rubber Form Recycled Products LLC. They are currently located at 75 Michigan Street in the city of Lockport. Currently, they lease their space. They're looking to purchase the facility and do some significant upgrades to the facility. We have Jeff Robbins here to address any questions that the board might have.
Any questions? Would you like to tell us a little bit about the
Yeah, sure. So it's going to be kind of a multi-phase event over the course of probably 5 to 10 years or sooner. But I'd say that's kind of a safe timeline. But we just don't have enough space for our current operation. We've grown significantly over the last 3 years, 20%, 2016, 17, 25%, 30%. Last year we had a 47% increase in sales, and we expect to keep growing at a pretty significant rate. So just our warehouse is limited by the space, what we can keep on the shelves. We sell to everybody, but a lot of our primary customers are construction type folks who need their product yesterday. So instead of being, making to order, we need to basically stock the shelves to get our product out the door on time. This project also involves moving into an additional 20,000 square feet in the building next door. So there are currently tenants in there at the moment. So when we do move into that space, we do plan to get a little bit more capability into our location. We do have a few OEMs in Ohio that do extrusion for us, injection molding for us. We want to bring all that work back here to Niagara County and create more jobs. We certainly have a lot of capacity for more opportunities here in the state.
For curiosity, the current motion is more or less reusing old products.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, so I should have prefaced that. So all of our products are from post-consumer waste, so stuff that you put in your blue bins, that's our raw material. Tires as well. We don't do the tire recycling ourselves. HDI down the street, they do that. We buy the product in these big 2,000-pound super sacks and reuse those products for our compression molding operation.
You were before the IDE many years ago, correct? Did the system once before?
Maybe. I'd have to refer back to Bill.
I think it was a loan. They haven't come for tax abatements.
For a loan?
They could lease it.
Yeah, correct. And that was
A long time ago.
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
That goes back a long time ago.
Yeah, that's probably my
And
product.
I think we brought some of us through your factory at that time on Michigan Street.
Yep.
We went through it, saw what you produced. You go in the community college parking lot there, those bumpers for,
Yep. The real stuff, yeah.
yeah, and it's all your product right there throughout the county.
Yeah, and they're all over the country now. It's just recently in Florida, and we sold our sign bases just because of COVID. The whole curbside to go has just exploded. So we've got very large customers, Starbucks, Gap brands, working with our Donnelly and a few other larger marketing companies to help get our product out there. So it's fun to kind of travel around and see our product throughout the nation. But we haven't even tapped into North America as far as like our product and what we're really capable of. So that's what we're spooling up to now. We've hired more salespeople, and the demand is just increasing.
great. Any other questions? Need a motion for the.
Real quick,
We have about 30 now.
you plan on creating something additional to that?
So we are planning. So I'm sorry. We have about five of those folks are temp employees that are kind of in their probationary stage that we do plan on hiring as long as they don't fire themselves. Yep. So we do probably plan on bringing on another 10 to 15 employees I would say over the course of, as we gain that more capability or able to afford the new machinery, that would trigger more jobs.
So you double your workforce.
Yep.
On average, what's the annual salary?
So we start.
What's coming in?
Yeah, so we do have like a sales office in our manufacturing operation, obviously a little different, but I would say the sales team, I want to say, they're on commission, we probably start them around 45 a year, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And then our factory operation is between $14 and $50 an hour, but we do definitely want to increase that, for sure.
Great.
So moved.
Second, not Mr. McKay. Wolfgang was first. Mr. McKay second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We need a roll call.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Candela?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Krefel?
Yes.
Mr. Onesi?
Yes. We need a motion on the public hearing. Motion. Okay. Mr. Cook, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a public hearing date.
Not yet.
operates a Scott Lawn Yard and provide a wide variety of services. Scott Lawn Yard created the Landscape Associates of Western New York, LANY, which is the maintenance division of the company. And over the last 2 years, LANY has grown rather significantly. They're operating from 3 different locations. This project would allow them to build this facility and consolidate all those locations and purchase additional equipment on 8401 Packard Road in Niagara Falls. And we have Mr. Miller here today to answer any of the questions the board may have.
Tell us a little bit about the project.
It's currently a vacant lot. It's on Packard and Hasley on the corner. It's across the street from our main location. And we'd like to put like a warehouse and office up to facilitate Landscape Associates of Western New York. It's the maintenance division of our main company.
No, it's not gonna, as Gary said, it's not gonna create new jobs, correct?
We're hoping to maintain all our employees.
But it's not gonna create new jobs.
Right now, no.
Any other questions?
You're merging the other 3 areas, is that correct,
Yes,
into one site?
into one site, right.
So you'll have across the street from the empty lot and this site,
Correct.
those sites will be the only sites.
Yes. Right now, they're operating in the stone house at the corner of Packard and Hasley. They also are operating on Town Line Road in Sanborn and also on Shawnee Road.
It's still not building into your offices, that
Correct.
Yeah.
So essentially, how much are they asking for?
$177.
Yeah, what ends up happening, again, as the board is well aware, a lot of times we come with projects that have a lot of jobs associated with it. A lot of times we come with a project that would add to our tax base. At times it would be helping a distressed area. One of the keys to staff's efforts here, and I know Sue would probably want to talk about a little bit, is job retention. I know Sue and Andrea work, I believe, with Mike Cassell about making sure successful businesses in Niagara County stay successful, stay open, and retain the jobs. This is one we don't come across very often because we usually add at least a couple of jobs down the line. But I believe this is one of those which is a job retention, if not for the move over, who knows?
Yeah, I would say a lot of the job creation has happened already. I think Scott was talking to Scott and his wife Christine started out with a pickup truck pretty much back in the day, and I mean really put some good full-time jobs on. So it's been it's been a couple of decades, I guess you've been at it, trying to maintain the workforce. And yeah, we looked at that, looked at the retention of the jobs and the turning of a vacant lot into a taxable property.
Maybe you'd like to tell us about your successful project with the Niagara Parkway.
The first Scott Lawn you're referring to.
Yes.
We've taken out part of the Robert Moses Parkway. I think that's what you're referring to, that project. In downtown Niagara Falls, about 3.5 miles of a highway. We turn it into a park area. It's through the state, the DOT, Power Authority, and New York State Parks. Nice project.
You might tell us the value of that only because I think that was a very large project for your company to participate in.
It was a decent size. It was like our second largest project. It was around $17 to $18 million. So it was a big project for us.
You did the landscaping, right?
Yeah, we were the prime on that contract. So we did the paving and landscape and everything associated with it.
So I'm in favor of the project. Your facility on Packard, where do you see Packard Road in adjacent to your location?
So we started out as a landscape company, like mowing and snow plowing company, and we've evolved over the years. I started in 1985, so it's been a few years, I guess. So, but we've always held on to the maintenance part of things. And my son graduated from college about 3 years ago. And he elected to come work for us. So he's kind of like managing that. And it's kind of evolving back. So it is kind of growing, and we're kind of excited about it. So it'd be a nice home base for that company.
What are you doing with the properties that you had?
So we're still going to maintain the other properties.
Oh, you're keeping the other properties?
The one property, we're going to turn it back into an apartment complex. It's a two-family house with a whole barn and a shop to it. So we're going to turn that back to just an apartment complex. And then the other facility is we share it with Landscape Associates, and that's on Shawnee Road. We're going to maintain that also. The stone house, we're not quite sure what we're going to do with that. Maybe overflow for Scott Long. We utilized that building during COVID quite a bit. The space our employees out.
Thank you. So you're actually keeping the 3 properties?
We're keeping the 3 properties, yes.
Because I'm sure we always look at this with the sales tax of Ethan and pilot. Because it's 0 possible employees, you could be bidding on other large jobs, though, where you might need to hire more people. Would that be correct?
Definitely. So my son Ryan started 3 years ago, and he's almost tripled the sales of the maintenance end of things. And he's, there is a good chance that it could get bigger. I think part of the hurdle now is he's spread over 3 locations. It's hard for him and us to really, control that well. So that it's really good.
And that makes sense. So it'll be more efficient.
It'd be a lot more efficient to manage and what have you.
I just think the possibility, I think we would love to hear is that there are future employees, within your grasp of the company.
I definitely can see that.
You have a question? We need a motion for the preliminary resolution. Mr. Scott? Ms. McDonald? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Yes.
Mr. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Candela?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Onesi?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. We need a motion for the public hearing. Motion. And Mr. Bell. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Eight point four, 9745 Rochester Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 9745 Rochester Road LLC. Brent Industries is home to 2 large online retail stores, KJ Motorsports. I typed here KJM, it's actually KJ Motorsports, that's my mistake. KJ Motorsports and Outdoor Furnace Supply. Both entities are large worldwide e-commerce distributors. They operate at 97, Middleport, and they're looking to construct a new 107,000 square foot facility to operate as their distribution and assembly operation at 9745 Rochester Road in Middleport. There is job creation. They're expecting within 3 years to hire 12 full-time employees, and we have Tyler Brett here to answer any questions the board might have.
Want to tell us what about your program?
Yeah, so ultimately what we're trying to do, so I guess I'll start by explaining, touch on what Andrea talked about a little bit with Brett Industries. Within that, we have 2 different companies we operate, both which are large online e-commerce retailers. One is KJ Motorsports, which is predominantly aftermarket products and parts and accessories for off-road vehicles, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, golf carts, snowmobiles, that type of thing. And then the other company is Outdoor Furnace Supply, which specializes in HVAC equipment for outdoor wood boilers, radiant heat type of systems, geothermal type of systems. So some more specialized HVAC equipment. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is we currently have a facility in Middleport on Mountain Road, and we also lease space in Medina as well, in Orleans County. So with this project, what we want to do is we want to bring both of those operations into one new facility on Rochester Road in Middleport. Be able to, get that all under one roof again, but also be able to grow and deal with a lot of the skill issues we're dealing with currently. We're currently out of space. Currently don't have a lot of room to add employees as well. So we're kind of against this wall where as we continue to grow, we don't have good options to address how to deal with that growth. So ultimately this project, we have planned as kind of the state it is, as we kind of classify the state-of-the-art warehousing, distribution, and assembly facility that hopefully will ultimately allow us to continue to grow and to support the growth that we're already experiencing.
How far away do you ship products to?
So it's mostly domestic. So in the contiguous 48 would be the overarching majority of it. We do ship though internationally and to other countries as well. I'd say just given the logistics and shipping costs, most of that is within the contiguous 48 states.
You think it's like the four-wheelers and then just your distance snowmobiles and turn them out?
Yeah. So even prior to the pandemic, whether it be four-wheelers, side-by-sides, which are basically a bigger version of a side-by-side, you can look at about kind of John Deere Gator. It's kind of that type of machine, and that they've evolved quite a bit over the years. But since that industry has been growing so much, along with just outdoor activities in general, people buy these machines. They put, there's replacement products, so just replacing tires, wheels, components, stuff like that, as well as outfitting their equipment with fancier accessories, speakers, aftermarket wheels and tires. Maybe they're tires for more of a mud application. It could be a farm, it could be for recreational. So there's kind of a lot of different facets to it, but for the most part, it's it's aftermarket accessories that people are adding in addition to. But there's certainly a maintenance and a replacement component as well.
You're going to anticipate hiring 12 people. I'm curious as to what the skills levels of the administrative, sales, marketing.
So yeah, I'll touch on, I guess, that whole topic. So we are committed to 12 jobs through 3 years. Of that 12, to your question, it's a little bit of a sliding scale, but I would say probably half are going to be, so 6 are going to be more in the assembly, warehouse type of operation support there. But then the other 6 would be a split between, say, administrative, even managerial, those type of things. So there is a good split as far as office or even labor positions. Kind of cover the whole spectrum as far as as we continue to grow, the whole organization grows. So we have to fill holes through that whole structure, right? So the other thing I'll say too is, and certainly as far as the application goes, we committed to 12, and we're more than confident in that. But especially sitting here today where we're at with kind of the opportunities in front of us, I can see 12 being a fairly easy target to hit. It's just something I think that we didn't want to put ourselves out there to overcommit, and we wanted to be very comfortable with the number we went with. But certainly as time goes on and every month that goes by, with circumstances we're dealing with in life right now, I'd say that looks even more favorable. So business is good. Yes, and to that question, it would also be a split. you start to get into your higher level administrative positions, and especially managerial positions with us, they would be salary, but you're probably off the cuff, and don't quote me on this, somewhere in a 50-50 split between hourly and salary type positions. But yes, I guess, no.
Business landscape is good today.
Yes, very good. And, we're fortunate that, the pandemic has positively influenced our industry. I think there was a downturn for a while, I think just about every industry, but because of, the push to outdoor activities, whether it be camping, whether it be fishing, boating, all these things kind of tie in together. And the off-road industry is a portion of that. So yes, business has been good. We were already, in the existence of the company, which my brother founded, there's only 1 year, say, close to the last 20 where we didn't grow. And then these last few years, especially now with the pandemic, things are really taking back off again. So we do expect things to continue to go well. And like I mentioned, there's certainly a lot of opportunities we have that currently we can't take advantage of because whether it be the space, the equipment, the people, kind of that whole system has to come together to support that growth.
What would you say the percentages of your off-road business versus your, your geothermal, boiler, solar?
So today, it's interesting for our history because it's varied quite a bit, depending on things that have happened, both from a government regulation and otherwise. But today, you're probably somewhere in that 95 to 5 proportion, where the off-road recreational side of things is really taken the pie over. But historically, there's been periods of time where it was the other way. And certainly, there's other opportunities we have on that side of the business as well. It's just it's a little bit of a balancing act for us right now when you have one industry there's so much going on with and so much opportunity. You tend to deal with the low hanging fruit first, right?
Any other questions? Okay, we need a motion on the preliminary resolution.
I make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Ross, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We need a roll call.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McKee,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Crippa,
Yes.
Mr. Onesi.
Yes. We need a motion on the public hearing. Mr. Cliff, and Mr. Bridges, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do we have a date for that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Don't know if I have to do it.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
So we don't have anybody for the next one, right?
No.
Okay. All right, 8.5 Cataract Tourism Fund. Andrea,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On March 26th, we held a committee meeting for the Cataract Fund. The committee entertained 2 projects, the first being Savarino Companies. You'll probably recall that this project came before the IDA board back in 2017. Actually, is it 16? I'm not gonna question you because I know you're usually right. but I'm usually not. Okay, anyway, so, and it was approved. Obviously, there's been delays in the project. They've come back. The project has not changed. It's 10 apartments ranging in size from 690 square feet to 1,090 square feet, just 4,000 square feet of retail space. They made a point of letting us know that they're working with, having conversations with people that occupy the retail space, and they have a number of things that they have listed to show that the project is ready. The committee did approve the project.
if I might, Mr. Chairman, and you'll see a little discrepancy in the amount of the total project cost, where basically the fund amount requested and the percentage. Normally, the percentage can be much higher based upon this, but there are aspects of this project, in particular the market rate apartments that do not fall within the range or criteria, excuse me, of the Niagara fund. Therefore, they have been removed from consideration and not based upon this. So the amount that you're talking about, 155, is basically I believe it's 15% of what the eligible project cost would be. And as you also recall, this is a reimbursable grant, meaning that you have to show us that you spent the money, show us that it was used in the proper manner, have a CPA or accounting firm certified that these monies were spent, and based upon, it cannot be over this amount, but if they didn't spend and hit that threshold, then it could be something less. But I just wanted to let you know that especially in regards to the market rate apartments, that is not being included in this grant.
Furniture and stuff also.
Yeah, it's all commercial and retail.
There was I'm sorry, go ahead. The completion date for this, is 5/31/21. That's soon. Is that
No,
not?
that's an incorrect number. I'm not sure why.
I'm just
That's
saying.
on this project summary.
That might have been the old, the
That
original.
might have been the old number, but it's in my project draft, it's well into, I think it's the end of 2022. December
March
30,
2022, yeah, you're right.
March of 22.
I didn't get anything to be corrected.
It will be, and the motion should be to reflect that. Thank you, Mr. Book.
I think one of the only questions that came up, because you have the 10, 1, and 2 room apartments at market rate, what about parking? And I think that question was answered at the March 26th meeting, because we were concerned, are you going to have on-the-street parking for us from the casino ramp, which would be, almost an impossibility with 10, 1, and 2 room apartment, that complex here. But I thought that was the only problem. They did come up and how they were moving the project along. And I thought every question was answered on March 26th, to be very honest with you. And there's people working down there because there was, by 3 days ago, and there were trucks out there in front of the place. So it's being worked on by Sedino Construction, Severino. And it was unanimous, if I remember.
That is correct. Yes.
So the 155K is pre-development expense, essentially.
It's anything to do with, yes, not post. It has to be build outs, furniture, equipment. It can be the windows or other types of areas and type stuff, but only as it relates to the first floor, the retail space, the commercial space, anything that has to do with the apartments are not being considered. The 155,000 is basically 15% of what the cost, I think, which is more like just over $1 million for that they're going to spend on the commercial and retail side.
Is there any knowledge of what the amount of the USA Niagara grant is?
Yes.
No, if there's other financing involved, you could tell us about that.
Yes, I think, Adrian is that.
Yeah, sorry. let me just look at the application. Okay, USA Niagara is 100, they have it listed on their application as 145,000. The Niagara Tourism Grant Fund, I believe, or excuse me, the city of Niagara Falls is 200,000, and USA Niagara is 145.
Thank you.
So last question, have they pulled the building permit yet? You know?
So one of the things that they listed, project readiness is a site plan approval, backflow permit, New York State DOT work permit. They've gone through the State Historic Preservation Office, New York Park Service approval of historic preservation, certification for historic tax credits, city assessors is approved the project, building code enforcement. So it seems like they've gone through a number of processes.
The beautiful thing about this grant fund clip is that if they don't do it, they don't get it. Everything's reimbursable. Only if it's up in a sea of certificate of occupancy. which helps, makes us sleep better.
I'm good with it. This is, anytime we can have some, market rate housing in the city of Niagara Falls, folks, we get it.
And what was good about the project too, you had Mayor Ristano there, you do economic, director there, economic development director, Eric, I can't remember his last name, but certainly they were 110% behind the project.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we need a motion to,
So moved.
Mr. Ross, Mr. Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries, we need a roll call.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Krippa,
Yes.
Mr. Hennessy.
Yes. 8.5.2, Upward Niagara Hospitality.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was the other project of they are looking to this grant fund help them with the purchasing of 40 new scooters, 4 electric bikes, 4 tandem bikes. The committee did approve.
You said 3rd Street, is this 3rd Street?
Oh,
This is 3rd.
it should have been corrected as 3rd Street, yes.
You didn't mention that she would have been.
Andrea rode one of the scooters.
Did you get in the scooter?
It was entertaining. I'm proud of that.
Are there any questions about the project?
Well, they can meet their completion date because they were working down there the other day. The location right across from the New Gazette location on 3rd Street. Looked like they were well ahead of their schedule.
I don't think I can have one of those things yet. Just, all right. Any other questions, comments? We need a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Ross. Second. And Mr. Bridges. All in favor? Any opposed? We need a roll call.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Krippa,
Yes.
Mr. Hennessy.
Yes. 8.6, NC Center for Economic Development.
So we have 2 offices currently that just have partition walls. So we would like to make it look like the rest of the office and get permanent walls put in and make it look like the rest of the office. We had the County of Department of Public Works helped us draw plans in the RFP for construction. They were sent to 4 Niagara County vendors. We received quotes from Niagara Chamberlain, Mulberry Construction, and Capital Development. Upon our review, we would like to recommend a low bid from DR Chamberlain for your consideration. I just wanted to make a note that Norm Allen, who's helped us from the DPW, he confirmed that the county's done several jobs with them, and he said they do a really nice job for us.
Any questions? Okay. We need a motion to approve. Thank you, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Young Men's Christian Association of Buffalo, Niagara.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Both of these projects, if I'll give you a quick background, it's not as detailed as what it may seem. Both the YMCA of Buffalo project, it's actually a bond deal as well as an some properties bond deal. These are old NADC bonds, which we were the issuer, being the Niagara Area Development Corporation, not the NCIDA. But it appears both of them, due to certain provisions built within the bond documents and that relate to the COVID. Both of the provisions in regards to due dates and certain requirements as to the amount of capital being kept need to be modified on both of these bond deals. This is really a matter between the various banks and the company, but because we are the issuer, back then they need our consent. So they're negotiating their own deal of how they're going to make up the difference in security, as obviously Jason being in the business would understand. That's going to be between the bank and the company. We're not obligated to pay, we're not on the line to pay, but because we are the issuer, the bank documents and the bondholders require our consent. That's what both of these are for. Is basically the NADC's consent to the amendment to the bond purchase agreement, which we're the issuers now. So if you could handle both first the YMCA and then that's it. And then we need roll call. Separately, we could.
All right, we need a motion. Second, Mr. McKay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Creppa,
Yeah.
Mr. Onesi.
Yes. All right, thank you. Vincent Property, or Vincent Properties, we need, for that one as well. Candela?
Same exact.
Thank you. What's that?
This is the exact same thing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Need a roll call vote on this.
Mr. Wolfgang,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Candela,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff,
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Creppa,
Yes.
Mr. Onesi.
Yes. Next one, no. Agency council, Mr. Gabriel.
There's nothing new, but I just want to take a moment and just remind the board of the amount of, and actually congratulate staff, in particularly Mike Dudley and Kerry Russo. They have completed our Paris reporting requirements for 2020 on time. It is, without a doubt, one of the most voluminous, craziest things you could ever imagine, and the amount of time they had to put into it is extraordinary. And I just wanted to just let the board know of the efforts and what a great job those two have done this past reporting cycle. And I know Sue agreed, we've talked about this. So that's the only thing I wanted to add.
Any other matters, issues, questions, comments? Then I make a motion that we adjourn. Second. Wolfgang, all in favor? Next meeting is May 12th.